blessing or a curse, delivered in reverse. Why does it feel so good? The secret under lock and key, give it to me. Oh, oh, you are my guilty pleasure.
Okay, so we come to my list now, and obviously there's been a lot of love in the room at this point, so keep that going. I would say how I chose my list is I went to my vinyl singles pile, because I kind of see singles as throwaway songs in general. So like Phil, I suspect I could have produced another 20 lists easily of lots of other pop that I'm into. I like sort of big band stuff as well. And these are all things I've chosen that are perhaps, hopefully, a little bit surprising, or just god-awful one-off songs. So number 5 on my list, I kind of bottled it here actually, because I was between 2, and I was going to go for Popcorn by Hot Butter, but instead I went for Mason Williams' Classical Gas. Yeah, the reason why I picked this one was because
it's a great song. That's why. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it is a great song, but it's this classic rock sort of mashup that started, I guess, late 60s, early 70s, and by the 80s you had albums by the London Symphonic Orchestra knocking out Led Zeppelin and Get Back by the Beatles, on and on and on. It was awful. But I heard this as a kid, didn't know what it was, tracked it down about 5-6 years ago. Like all of them on my list, I do have them on vinyl. So that is my 7-inch of Classical Gas. And then when I saw the video and I saw him, he looks a bit of a gimp and his frilly shirt. Oh, my wife's just bringing me a cup of tea. Thank you, dear. She does exist. and I let her, I do let her out the cellar. Thank you.
So it's not a myth. You guys really do drink a lot of tea.
Oh, I don't know if you can see this. This is my Billy Bragg.
That's cool.
Mug.
That's cool.
Yeah, because the album's called Brewing Up with Billy Bragg.
I wonder where the guilt lies in this song. I said my ears like this sound, and it was very major motion picture soundtrack in its sound. Like I could imagine it in a film because of how orchestrated it is and all the levels to it. I liked it, and I don't enjoy saying that because I want to be brutal on all of your picks. So I'm going to have to reserve that for some of your others. But this one I really liked.
So I love this. I never knew who did this. And I'm a big Moody Blues fan. And this reminded me so much of the Moody Blues. And with the acoustic guitar, and then the orchestra comes in. I didn't pay so much attention to what he looked like or what the orchestra looked like, because I love this song. I really do. And I don't know. I just think to me this is the best song on all of our lists. That's my favorite because, like I said, I'm a prog nerd, and to me this reminds me of early prog. So like I said, Moody Blues.
John, man. I wanted to really fit within the running theme of this episode, of this whole episode so far. We're really hating on a lot of stuff and say this is the case of bad gas, Classical Gas, my ass. But I just can't. I can't. I mean, if you're a music fan, you go back to stuff like this. I mean, it's the roots, it's the history, it's great. I mean, that acoustic, that's just it really is Classical Gas classic, do. And, when he was constructing that and he got that he did that change up in the song where he gets the whole band in, I love that. And then it's just a takeout, it's always been one of my favorites when it comes on. you know, there might be I might be in the dentist's office in the elevator, you know, and oh, it's elevator music. But that song, no, they got that wrong. That's not elevator music. That's great music. So this was really good.
Number 4 is Plastic Bertrand and Ça plane pour moi.
Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi, moi. Ça plane pour moi. Ça plane pour moi.
I bought this at a record fair, and when I was about 12 or 13, I bought another song which is on this list the same day. So that was a really bad day in my musical taste. But it's one of those ones that you hear, well, you used to hear on the radio, and it is a pastiche of sort of this pop punk noise, and it's sing along for the kind of the pre-pubescence and, you know, the early teens, and it's very simple. It's pretty horrible, to be honest with you. So the translation "Ça plane pour moi" means it's going well for me. You know, it literally means it's gliding for me. But Joe Strummer said it was brilliant. So, you know, who am I to argue with Joe Strummer?
I have generic punk meets Belgian Beach Boys as the sound and vibe I got from the song. The music was pretty trash. And the vocals, I have to imagine, though weren't great, had to have been made a little bit better considering the anecdote divulged. And I actually came across that too when I was looking into these guys about like the whole controversy surrounding the vocals, sort of like a European Milli Vanilli situation with this track. But yeah, this was unimpressive.
Do I go?
Yes.
Well, I liked it. I loved it. This is something that, Greg, you got to go along with me with this. This is something I would have heard on LIR. They played this on LIR. I know they did. And I would be like, yeah, in the car, we'd all be bobbing along and everything. I love this thing. And, you know, it's kind of like the same vein of 99 Luft Balloons, you know? It's like that type of thing. It's a one-hit wonder throwaway, and I love that type of junk. So I could see it being a guilty pleasure. And if be it a guilty pleasure, it's one of mine then. So thanks.
Well, you lost me with 99 Luft Balloons because it's the most horrible song I've ever heard in my life.
Well, stick around. I've got 3 more.
But that said, I'm with Phil on this one. I like this a lot. This was, and I wrote down, this was a huge hit here in the new wave and alt sound nightclubs and radio station. And we danced to this. I don't think you can go wrong with the guitar. The guitar actually is pretty cool. It actually reminds me a little bit of sort of the Chuck Berry, you know, the way it would come in and stuff like that. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun, and you could dance to it. And that's kind of, you know, I remember this song on the dance floor. And so, you know, when you connect like that, and it was good times, yeah, thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I would say, summarizing, it is Euro trash, but everyone knew it was Euro trash and still liked it. You know that Big Macs are bad for you, but you still eat them. There's so many people have covered this song, including Metallica. Number 3 on my list is the Ting Tings with That's Not My Name.
I never say anything at all, but with nothing to consider, they forget my name. Aim. They call me Hell, they call me Stacy, they call me Her, they call me Jane. That's not my name, that's not my name, that's not my name, that's not my name. They call me Quiet Girl, but I'm a riot. Mary Jo Lisa, always the same. That's not my name, that's not my name, that's not my name, that's not my name.
This is another one I said before is playground nonsense. It even starts with skipping rope noise. And when it first came out, I detested it. And then I caught some crappy TV show and they were doing it live. And I was watching it thinking, I can't believe I'm watching this. And about halfway through the song, as it builds, and then he starts with his vocals as well. The live version, I think, was a little bit more, but they really got into a jam. And you kind of then got a sense of what they were trying to achieve outside of the mainstream pop drive. And it's a great song. And I always put it on when my mates come around and we've had a few drinks. And then we would sing along to this, and we would change each person's name to the name in the chorus. Interesting thing about this, the lead singer, the girl, Katie White, her grandfather won the lottery, and he gave each one of his sons, which is her father, £1 million. And he used some of that money to back her in her early part of her career. That morphed into a folk tale that her dad won the lottery, built her a £5 million quid studio, and totally pushed her through. So the truth got, shaped, because there's a lot of hating on this band as well. But this was a massive, massive, massive hit in this country, and so as their albums went straight into #1. It's fun, but it is throwaway. I'll give you that.
I've heard this song so many times. And here's the problem, right? Like, part of me likes the message of the song, sort of like the feminist, hey, give me some put respect on my name. Don't call me sweetheart or any of those things. I am who I am. But that message doesn't need to be told for 5 minutes and 12 seconds. This song is way too damn long, way too long. And I've come to realize that I only like that little part that I just alluded to. Like, that's not my name. I like that snippet. That snippet to me is like a little, like if it plays in the back of like a television show or a movie, and that's just cool. You put me in a chair and make me listen to this for over 5 minutes, and that's all it's bringing musically and sonically. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. This is a decent song, but there's no reason it should be 5 minutes and 12 seconds.
I should have picked the 12-inch version, shouldn't I?
the extended version, yeah.
Yes, Phil, it's your turn.
Okay. I like it. I liked it when it came out. Like I said, one hit. I don't know how big the Ting Tings are over there, but over here, this is the only one that ever made it anywhere. And I do like the song. I think it's fun. Like you say, it's a throwaway. It reminds me of a lot of the Flying Lizards' Money.
Right.
You know that?
Yeah.
You know that song, Greg. They played it on LIR.
Okay.
Money, that's what I want. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
It had that cheesy sound to it and everything.
Yeah.
That's what this reminds me of. And I'm okay with it. It's not like, a go-to, but it's good. It's all right.
Yeah. When I think about like ting tings and what that might mean, I think John got a bad case of the ting tings when he saw the video of that girl singing, because I actually checked it out. She's pretty cute. It's pretty cute. Her voice is actually what really got me, is that her voice. Now, I'm not talking about the song, but there's something about the vocals. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. There's something in there, and maybe that's what it was. And John's like, whoa, I'm drawn to this. Yeah. Let me check this out. Ting Tings. Yeah, that's not my name. Well, what name do you want? I'll call you whatever name you want.
I don't think that's what she wanted our reaction to be as bad.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of blondes, to be honest with you, but there you go. Oh, and just to prove it, there you go. It is in my collection, 7-inch.
It's 7.
I'm out of here.
I'm not going there.
Gotta draw the line somewhere, gents.
A line in the sand.
But yeah, nah, pass. A big pass on for me.
Okay, to number 2 on my list now, and this is without question the worst song I have in my entire record collection. But it's not my guiltiest. Just to give you a background on this, during lockdown, to get a bit of engagement with 2 of my friends, I would do a record of the day where I took a photograph of something in my record collection, message it along with a YouTube link to the video. And I did 100, then I did another, I ended up doing 400 in total. It was only supposed to be 100. But I would mix in some bad tracks as well as some good ones. And this was easily the worst. And this is Bill Wyman with Je suis une rock star.
South American lady, you've got that crazy beat, Brazilian beauty, with the flashing feet, dance to the music, at the Mardi Gras, then jumped on the Concorde, you're so la-di-da.
This is the other song that I bought the same day I bought Plastic Bertrand. And yeah, it's an ex-jukebox one. I think it was about 20 pence. I mean, I got ripped off. It's just awful. But I have this attachment to it, which, because I think it's just because it's been round, you know, like, I don't know, like a 10-year-old leg ulcer, you know, it's still there, and there's no getting away from it. There's some really iffy lyrics in there about, you know, I'll be your father and you'll be my daughter, but considering all the Mandy Smith stuff, it's pretty uncomfortable. He can't carry a tune in a bucket. I mean, he really can't. And he tries to put the bass at the front as much as possible in this song, but it's yeah. So yeah, I totally recognize
this was more interesting for me from an educational standpoint, like a rock and roll history thing. This little Bill Wyman, because I never listened to any of his solo stuff or really even knew that it kind of existed. So it was interesting to me. But even some of the guitar work reminded me a little bit of like what you might hear in a Vampire Weekend track, if you've ever listened to Vampire Weekend, sort of the weird, whimsical little guitar shit they do in the background. So I wrote Je suis surprised at this song and at this selection. It's god awful. It's just really bad vocals. He looks like he's out of place on that stage when I watched the video, like he doesn't belong there. And I didn't really listen to the lyrics, but what you just said, that just is sort of like that weird era of Stones dating much younger women. So it's super gross and old manish. So yeah, that adds to why I further don't like this song. So, but thanks for informing me about, you know, Wyman's, you know, own shit and what he did outside of the Stones and all that.
Now, didn't his son marry the girl's mother? It was so weird and bizarre. It was so weird and bizarre, Bill Wyman. Yeah. But I actually saw, I watched a documentary on Bill Wyman. It's called The Quiet One. And, you know, he was a big photographer, and he took all kinds of film of the Stones and everything. I watched it. It was really interesting. But, you know, then he left the Stones, and then they did show him doing this type of stuff. And I was like, oh man, I'm glad this shit didn't make it over here. Because like I have to say, John, this is probably the most shameful one on your list. God awful. God awful.
John, all I gotta say is why man? Why man?
I see what you did there.
It's what's so funny about this is that for the first 30 seconds or so, I was like, holy crap. The music was really interesting. You know, maybe along the lines like what Andy was saying, like there was something there, like before he started singing and they were doing like the music. And I was like, this is kind of interesting. It's different, you know? Mm-hmm. And then he started to sing and the words, and it was god awful. And I couldn't wait for it to be over with.
And so the best till last, my number one pick, and probably the best song on the whole 4 lists, is Dennis Waterman with I Could Be So Good For You.
If you want to, I'll change the situation.
little story why I picked this. This was a theme tune to a television show called Minder that sort of started in 1979 and ran through. And Dennis Waterman was a member of the cast. And it was a light-hearted comedy drama. The titular character was him, and he looked after a guy called Arthur Daly, who was a low-level con man who was getting into scrapes and etc. They released the song because he wrote it. No, he didn't write it. He sung it. Some other guy called Waterman helped write it, and it didn't get anywhere. And then they re-released it the following year, and it got to about number 3 or something in the charts. At that time, the program was hugely popular. There's only 3, maybe 4 channels in the UK, so it would get regularly 10 million viewers easily. And everybody knew this, and they knew this theme song. And a few years later, when we were sort of like late teens, we would sing this in the pub when we were drunk. Someone would start off with the first couple of lines, and by the 4th line, there'd be 20 or 30 people singing this out loud, because it was just a hilarious song to sing that was so out of place in the pub. And it was a really kind of old-fashioned song, but I genuinely love it, and I do have it on vinyl. I tracked it down, and that cost me about £3, you know, and money well spent, I think.
So you said you and your mates would listen to this song or start singing this song at the like the end of the night at the bar?
A cappella, yes.
Yeah, no better sign for me to get the hell home and call it a night when this song starts playing. So excellent closing time song, because I would get the hell out of it.
Yeah.
This song was bad. The song was like, it definitely sounds like a TV theme song. So like it's definitely cut from that cloth. But oh my God, this was probably, it's benign, but it was probably my least favorite song of all the songs I listened to from all the lists.
When I was watching the video and everything, I was like,
oh, it's
is
bizarre.
is this what they based Love Actually on? You know the movie Love Actually, the Christmas movie, and they have the washed up rock star, because he even looks like him. And I'm like, and it was a lame song to begin with, and they made it into a Christmas song, and it goes to number 1. And I was like, is this what they based it on? Because that's what it seemed like. I don't know, but it was not very good.
It was like watching a family video, right? You know, you sit down and someone says, hey, you know, let me pop in, you know, video about my mom, with my mom and my dad and my aunts and my cousins and all. Because I think that all those folks in that video were his family. He's actually holding, sort of hugging his mom, I think, that looked like, she looked exactly like him. Just, you know, just absolutely with the, you know, and then the traffic cop where he's kind of making out with her. I think that's his wife. The lady with the dog, his sister, the 2 women that he's hugging, kissing, and that's his cousin and aunt. And then the boy who's stealing the apple, right? I think that was his son or his cousin. So the fact that I actually had to even like try to figure that out, and why I even wanted to try to figure that out, that's mental, and that says a lot about me and not really so much about you, John. But the fact that you even made me do that, that's on you.
I totally forgot about the video, actually. I've got a few theories on that as well. So he's clearly, it's 5 a.m. because that's the sort of time they set up a market in London, and they've let some people know and they've come down. He's either still drunk or coked up from the night before. He's forgetting to mime at certain points and others. I think he has got a MILF/Gil fixation, and that's why he's just grabbing onto these older women. I think that the traffic warden was a failed adult film star, and clearly the policeman was just a terrible actor. The whole thing is excruciating, actually, and I was so delighted when I found it, because I've not seen that video before. I thought this will really make the guy's day watching this. So
it was so weird. It was so weird. And he's
it was,
like
I thought,
you said he's kind of an opposite of a Bill Wyman, like he has a thing for the
yeah, I reckon
vintages.
The thing is, this, for me, this song has a lot of personal history and really good times, particularly sort of 18 years old or whatever. And then also there's the TV show as well. So I thought this would be a bit of a cultural shock for you three guys. And when I saw the video, I thought this has got to be on the top of the list. That's the most painful thing I could think to inflict upon you. So there you go.
But this didn't remind you at all of Love Actually with the washed up rock star?
No, I think I blanked that out of my mind completely, that film, because I hated it.
It just totally reminded me of it.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. This was great. We're just trashing each other's songs and having fun with it and just hopefully people out there actually had fun too. Yeah. So let us know. Let us know which songs were the worst, which songs were the best. Yeah. And what are your guilty pleasures? I want to hear all those folks out there that we see, we hear, in our comments. You know who you are. Eric with an H and Glenn, and right down the line. I want to know your guilty pleasures too.
Wonder Boy and Bob.
Wonder Boy, Bob. I mean,
Arthur.
right down the line. Arthur, yeah. And so, but in the meantime, I really hope you did enjoy this, and we'll see every one of you on the next reaction episode or next panel episode on Into the Music.
And I said,